For second-round action for the 2025 TBT. Our matchup is the 4-seed Kings and the top seed Alumni. Let's meet this afternoon's starting lineups. First for Court Street Kings. Starting guard standing 6'1", wearing number 12, Jalen Hutzer. At guard standing 6'1", number 11, Sheree Mitchell. Off the guard, standing 6'4", wearing number 0.
Don't leave the Coliseum. Make sure y'all get y'all's check before you leave, all right?
And forward standing 6'8", number 5, Ben Bond. And the man in the middle, standing 6'8", number 4, Wilson III. The head coach of Court Street Kings is Drew Sloan. And now let's meet the top seed, Illumination. Starting forward, 6'5" from Arkansas, number 4, Darius Hall. And forward, 6'8" from St. Peter's University, number 23, Samuel Nobu. In the middle, standing 6'10" from the University of Alabama.
And we say happy Sunday afternoon from the Charleston Coliseum here in Charleston, West Virginia. It is game number 1 of what is a doubleheader for us this afternoon, as it's round number 2 of the basketball tournament here in the West Virginia Regional. And our opening matchup pits the top seed Elite Nation against the 4-seed Court Street Kings. Afternoon, everybody, alongside the former Liberty Flame, Tim Scarborough, Matt Martucci. And we get our first look, Scar, at the top seed.
Yeah, and I tell you what, Elite Nation is one of those teams that, hey, they could win it all, but they could lose today. And what I mean by that is they are talented. They have 2,000-point scorers from college in this group. They have pros, as do a lot of teams in TBT. The question is, will they play together? If they play together, I suspect that the Court Kings right now would be a little bit overmatched. But the Court Street Kings have played already. Elite has not. So that tends to play a factor as well. So we'll see how well Elite Nation can get off to a good start and play their type of game. They've got guys coming off the bench that can score. They're starting guys that can score. This should be a really good matchup, but they better handle their business. If they play with their food, they could find themselves eliminated early.
Elite Nation on the floor in the light blue jerseys. Court Street Kings in what is the green. They ended up here by virtue of a round one win over the North the other day to open up what was a triple header on Friday. And they're led in their starting lineup by former second-round NBA draft pick Jason Preston. It's primarily Ohio University alumni Preston, along with Ben Vanderplas, Sharif Mitchell, Jalen Hunter, and Dwight Wilson III in the starting lineup. Darius Hall, Desi Washington, Rashad Vaughn, Samuel Idowu, and then Galen Smith, who's actually at the center jump circle and will jump against Wilson. Ted Valentine, Kent Wilkerson, Mike Lazo are our officiating crew. And we are underway in the tap controlled by Elite Nation and Desi Washington.
Court Street had 3 guys in double figures the other day in a win, a comfortable win, but today is going to be a little different already getting the splash started. Elite Nation.
Rashad Vaughn, the former first-round NBA draft pick, 17th overall back in 2015. Was a Milwaukee Buck and then played 2 more years in the NBA as Court Street Kings and Ben Vanderplas quickly one and done. Elite Nation primarily composed of a lot of former Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference guys, or the other MAC.
The MAC versus the MAC is what we have here,
And
right?
That's exactly right.
We get to establish who is the real MAC after this one.
Preston with an open look, left wing, able to follow his own miss.
They're very fortunate that he didn't knock that down. That's a wide open look from an NBA player.
Vanderplas extra pass. Wilson III got raked on the arm, but letting him go as they typically do in TBT. And Sharif Mitchell with a quick steal. Wilson III, little power, two-fisted finish.
It's nice to get rewarded for not coming back on defense, right? That happens sometimes.
Little Sunday afternoon cherry pick.
Yes, sir. I had a bushel of those back in the day when I played.
Bushel of cherries these days will give you acid reflux. Hall off the bounce and up and in with the shot. 5-2 early on here, Elite Nation. Like the pace of this early on as this gets punched off the glass. Hunter's attempt. And Desi Washington down with the basketball for Elite Nation.
Oh, Mike Lazo with the call there. Desi Washington said that's not a foul. I don't know. And what happens in those plays, if you get your arm extended as a ball dribbler, they're going to call a foul if the guy falls, even if he flops.
Mitchell off the bounce, left of the lane. And defensive rebound grab by Idowu.
Court Street Kings are not wasting time getting shots up on the glass. Oh, nice double team here.
Vanderplas able to steal it away. Got bodied by Washington,
Nice.
scoring and the foul.
A double error by Desi Washington. Turned it over for the second time. Had a 2-on-0 break. He tried to come in late, trailing that play. Didn't foul him hard enough to make him miss the shot, but he fouled him, so insult to injury there. Vanderplas with a chance to make a three-point play early here.
Ben Vanderplas, who was good the other day, ended up getting the Elam ender.
Yeah, he had 15 points. He led them in scoring. 6 of 11 from the field, 2 for 5, 2 for 6 from downtown. A solid performance from the big fella, number 5 in green.
Catch and shoot for Vaughn, who opened the game with the first three, and that gets stolen back. Hall with the quick hands and the layup.
Yeah, and in college, you would get bailed out as the rebounder, not rebounding strong. They would call that foul because he got the ball jarred away. But this is TBT, grown men.
And quickly one and done, Mitchell, but Vanderplas actually not a one and done, offensive glass. Just getting our bearings a couple minutes in as Hunter off the bounce. An offensive rebound for Wilson III, but travels.
Hunter was a really good three-point shooter in his day, both at Old Dominion and at Ohio University.
First, we'll see if Keyshawn Justice for Court Street Kings. Wilson III sits down. Hall initiating with Idowu. Tried to force feed the baseline to Vaughn. Stolen away. Here comes Preston.
Nice pass.
Excellent find. Somebody's open. It's Vanderplas with the trigger. And Washington, the defensive rebound.
Sometimes great possessions don't end in baskets. That's okay. You just want to keep playing that same way. And now Desi Washington making his presence felt with a splashdown from three.
Washington, who split time between Delaware State and St. Peter's during his college days. One of the elder members of Elite Nation.
Coughed it up there.
And the early 5-point lead for the top seed, playing like it early on. Idowu gathered on the baseline, and Galen Smith unable to track down that rebound. Vanderplas, pitch into the baseline. Preston on the kick out from Mitchell. Somebody's open. It's Sharif Mitchell. And second time they've had an opportunity open from the perimeter. Couldn't cash. Vanderplas, is he too open? No, he's not.
Yeah, you eventually, if you keep playing the right way, the ball is going to find the center of that bucket. Great hustle by the Court Street Kings.
6 early on for Vanderplas. And we have a 10-8 basketball game. Whistle and a foul, says Ted Valentine. Sharif Mitchell's first, team first on Court Street Kings.
Number 21, A.J. English in powder blue. Is that what we call that? Sky blue. Coming onto the floor for the first time. Prolific scorer at Iona. Here he is with the ball.
And more than 2,000 career points for A.J. English.
Wow.
It sets up Washington, who's banging them in from the outside. 6 now for Desi Washington.
And that's the thing. Desi can go on a shooting spree, and there's almost nothing you can do about it. But they have other guys like that, too. D'Angelo Harrison is a very streaky guy. He gets it going, and they know how to find each other.
Justice off the great find. Got the friendly bounce. The assist for Vanderplas. And Court Street Kings back to within a bucket.
At the green end offensively, there are a lot of high percentage shots being taken right now. And the Elite Nation will have to find a way to be better cohesively defensively.
Darius Hall might have forced that. More than halfway through the first quarter, Matt Martucci, Tim Scarborough in a high-paced affair.
Long.
Justice airballed that. Washington down with the rebound. Preston matched up with Washington.
That's a tough matchup right there.
And
Woo!
even tougher shot. Got the angle and banked it home.
Pretty good defense, though, by Preston. But Washington found his shot, went to his spot, and knocked it down. A couple early turnovers by Desi Washington, but since then, he scored 8 points.
And good start for Washington. Elite Nation, the 4-point lead. Justice was backing up like that was going down. Nothing yet from D'Angelo Harrison.
Good
Washington not bashful. That was deep.
Man, contested from 27.
Shot that from the Canal River a couple blocks down.
Right. That's a nice move.
And Justice to the basket.
Nice split. That was actually Graves. Javon Graves on 25. Another MAC player, but he played at Buffalo.
Another guy that could fill it up during his day.
No question about it. Oh.
Idowu was looking down low for Harrison and threw it away.
I don't know.
Maybe he wasn't.
Shot, right?
Vanderplas.
Here we go.
Sniping again from the left wing. Knocks down another.
No doubt about that shot attempt right there. Another splashdown from downtown.
9 now early on for Ben Vanderplas. Picking up right where he left off the other day. Hall off the bounce, the elbow J, cans it.
This team has so many individuals that can go create a high percentage shot for themselves.
Vanderplas gathers, that's short.
Much more urgent contest that time. Giving up a lot of uncontested threes at that end. Pretty good start for both teams so far here, Matt.
At 1 point basketball game, the top seed Elite Nation with the slim lead. You're watching the 2025 basketball tournament here at the West Virginia Regional. And quickly back in Charleston, 17-16 is the Elite Nation lead on top of Court Street Kings. In a matchup of 1 seed against 4 seed, winner of this game ends up getting the winner of our next matchup. It's the TBT version of the Capital Classic. Heard that, the Marshall alumni against the 3 seed West Virginia, the West Virginia alumni, for what will be the 3rd installment of the rivalry in TBT.
Yeah,
Chip Scarborough and I proud to say we've called all of them and going to get to call another one in a couple hours.
And I think we're in for a real treat this second game. This building is going to be loud. I would say mostly West Virginia fans, but there'll be a fair share of green shirts in the audience as well. So should be a good one. Both teams have beaten each other, so this will be the tiebreaker.
Some results from earlier in the James Madison Regional. Eberline Drive, the 2 seed. I'm switching regions. But the Lexington Regional, Eberline Drive, the 2 seed, led by a big game from former Arizona guard Gabe York, advancing to the regional final. As Malik Osborne, the former Florida State Seminole, ends up getting a tap. And the Elite Nation lead back to 3, but Justice comes back and snipes a 3, and we're tied at 19. So Eberline Drive, though, 86-68 over Tampa, Florida, pick up basketball. And then in the James Madison Regional, Shell Shock, the Maryland alumni, the 2 seed over Red Rose Thunder, which is a team comprised of a lot of former Philly guys, including Ramon Galloway, who led LaSalle to the Sweet 16 a while back. So Shell Shock will await the winner of Raleigh 919 Legends and the 5 seed NXT Era Elite.
Ramon Galloway, he of the Philly Floater, right?
No, different guy. That would be Tyrone Garland.
Garland, yeah, that's the one I was thinking of. LaSalle.
Final 10 seconds here in the opening period. English finds Hall.
Short.
And got it off. Sunday deposit for Darius Hall off the glass.
Man, that looked like it had no chance, and all of a sudden it finds the bottom of the net. Pretty good, well-played first quarter.
It's a weekend deposit. You're the only car on the ATM line.
Yeah, no waiting.
So Darius Hall gives Elite Nation the 21-19 lead after 1 here at the West Virginia Regional. Starting the second quarter here at Charleston. And it's Court Street Kings with the basketball trailing by what's a bucket over the top seed Elite Nation. Matt Martucci, Tim Scarborough right in front of our vantage point. Ready to inbound is Jack Golke, the former NCAA tournament hero from Oakland, former Oakland Grizzly, who hung what was 10 three-pointers on Kentucky, but struggled a little bit to get his footing the other day. Only knocked down 1 3, although we thought it was because he got hit on the arm about 12 times.
Yeah, they were definitely closing out a little hard on him the other day. Understandable. But you know how hard it is to make 10 threes in a game, in any game, let alone an NCAA tournament game. That was still one of the more memorable moments in NCAA tournament history.
And ended up on that Oakland roster after his head coach at Hillsdale College called Greg Campy and said, hey, I've got a guy I think can play D1. You want to take a look?
I think can play D1. That's an understatement, right? He certainly can.
Dwight Wilson III just tied this game with the follow, 21 apiece.
Yeah, this Court Street Kings team, they're MAC tough. M-A-C, not M-A-A-C.
Harrison triggers the three and cans it. D'Angelo Harrison was Big East tough back in his day.
Yeah, he was. St. John's, another 2,000-point scorer, scored over 2,100 points in the Big East.
Played for Steve Lavin. Took him until his senior year to get to the NCAA tournament, but eventually did.
And Harrison has played with A.J. English and Desi Washington in TBTs of the past. What a rip. Graves.
Took it away, hammered it home.
Clean. Picked him like a chicken wing.
Court Street Kings doing a good job. Putting on the pressure has forced a couple of turnovers in the backcourt.
That was my concern with Elite Nation, being a little casual with the ball, maybe not understanding that they are the better team and just kind of playing, but they can turn it on at times.
Offensive rebound from Malik Osborne off the Harrison miss, and foul on Court Street Kings. Javon Graves hit with the personal. Line change coming for the Ohio Alumni. Graves sits down, as does Wilson. Justice, Golke. So Miles Brown, Sharif Mitchell, Jalen Hunter, Ben Vanderplas, and Jason Preston. The 5 on the floor for Court Street Kings. Rashad Vaughn, A.J. English, Justin Robinson, Malik Osborne, and D'Angelo Harrison for the top seed Elite Nation.
Wow,
this is Robinson, all kinds of wild on the turnaround for the former 2-time Metro Atlantic Player of the Year from Monmouth. Vanderplas bodied by English. And look at the vision. Hunter long on the 3, English down with the rebound. English, little Euro to the basket, and a finger roll says, hey, where's my and one?
Yeah, with a ton of resistance. He had a forearm in his chest throughout that whole time. Still able to delicately step through the net, through the lane for a nice finger roll.
Some vision for Preston. Gets it back from Mitchell. Nice backdoor, and Brown got hacked from behind. Rashad Vaughn guilty of the foul. First team foul in Elite Nation. First one on Vaughn as well. Miles Brown heads to the stripe. Played 5 years in Athens, Ohio. The 1920 COVID shortened, or excuse me, the 1920 season where the postseason cut short by COVID. Finished up in 23-24. And was known as the three-point threat. Shot over 40% from the outside.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive to do that over the course of an entire season. Whoa.
And right in front of us, ball goes out of bounds. Thought we were going to have
a
front row seat right into our table.
Ready to catch some players, some referees possibly. But no harm done.
Nice pick and roll. Vanderplas, one-hand hammer.
Way too easy, though. I mean, you shouldn't be able to get that off of one pick. I mean, you got to communicate a little bit better and do a better job, the big, of communicating with the small.
26 apiece. Vanderplas now with 11 is Preston with a theft. Vanderplas one more into the corner. Hunter, and ends up short.
This is where Justin Robinson is electric in the open court, pushing, making things happen, and he does right there. Great delivery to Rashad Vaughn for a nice three.
First triple for Vaughn since he hit the opening basket. 6 now for Rashad Vaughn on a pair of threes. Preston way off target. It's a high-level game, though, here early on. Somebody's going to the regional final. Harrison says, I want it to be us.
And if he has anything to do with it, it will be, because he is a terrific clutch player down the stretch as well.
And English with a big block at this end. Ball knocked out of bounds, last touched by Court Street Kings. And Elite Nation feeding off the energy at both ends. Harrison gets a bucket, English a block, and they have the ball again.
What a rundown. What a chase down by A.J. English, though. He's still as athletic as he was 5, 6, 7 years ago. Impressive.
And for a guy that turned 33 earlier this month, that says a lot.
Probably not giving you the same amount of minutes he would have 5, 6 years ago, but he's giving you great quality minutes in spurts.
Washington dribbled into the double team, exactly what they wanted him to do. Mitchell able to get the steal. Preston, good vision. Hunter, one more.
Look how the ball moves at this end of the court, though. That ball is kinetic.
Vanderplas, feet under him, and says top of the key, deposit.
Come on. No way he was trying to bank that in. I will take that to my grave. There is not a shooter who's trying to bank one in, especially from straight on from downtown.
Ben Vanderplas having quite a TBT. Already 14. He had 15 the entire game the other day. Preston, everything but the finish on the drive.
Crashed into his own teammate there, too, trying to rebound it. But Vanderplas, wow. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. And that was not that he's not good, because he's a great player, but a little luck that time.
Off target is Vaughn. Rebound tracked down in the corner by Jalen Hunter.
And again, looking at shot quality, it just looks higher on this end of the floor when the game's at this end, because the ball is moving more.
Well, in terms of quality of play, this is the best one we've seen so far in this regional. More than halfway past to the second quarter. And Elite Nation up by a bucket on Court Street Kings. You're watching TBT 2025 from the West Virginia Regional. I've seen plenty of entertainment here in the first, well, at this point, about 14 and a half minutes worth of basketball that we've watched. Elite Nation 31, Court Street Kings 29, battle of 1 seed versus 4 seed. Winner moves on to Tuesday's regional final. It's the winner of Heard That and Best Virginia still to come. A nice, strong drive by Javon Graves to tie this game yet again at 31 apiece. And Elite Nation comes right back with a bucket of its own.
5 straight points before that shot.
Samuel Idowu got that last one. Preston, a little 2-game with Vanderplas. And got locked up, and a whistle and a foul on Darius Hall.
And Hall did not need to push Vanderplas in the back because he was having trouble locating where that pass was going. But it was kind of like a defensive back. When a guy is getting free, they just grab him, and the ball may not even be catchable, but they panic and they grab him. That's what happened there.
Winding down this first half. Hunter, deep in the teeth of this Elite Nation defense, forced the issue and got fouled.
Robinson at 5'8". People tend to try to post him up, but he's hard to post up because he has such a low center of gravity. But Hunter doesn't get to post up many guys, so when he sees a 5'8" guy, you know he's going to try to get on that block.
Southpaw Jalen Hunter, more than 1,400 career points, split between Old Dominion and Ohio. Brings his team to within 1. And Hunter gets both. A.J. English back in for Elite Nation, out there with Darius Hall, Samuel Idowu, Desi Washington, and the former first-round draft pick, Rashad Vaughn. Vaughn already with 2 threes, leaves it for Idowu. Shot clock cut in half. Now inside 10 for Hall, got caught up. English off the bounce with the shot clock at 6, lets it fly. Bodies crashing in everywhere, and instead defensive rebound for Brown. Chance for Court Street Kings to take the lead. Hunter says, "Oh, oblige."
Here we go. Starts with a really good defensive effort. They made it tough. Elite Nation eventually got a shot, but not a great one. And that led to a transition opportunity that they cashed in from downtown.
Little 5-0 personal Jalen Hunter run for Court Street Kings. Now up by 3. Washington cooking with the behind the back in the mid-range.
And they all can do it. Every one of these guys can go get themselves a shot, and that's fine. And it's a place to do it. The question is when you do it, and if you do it too much, are people going to everybody start playing for themselves? Because this team is talented. That's the balance that the coaching staff has to try to overcome when you have a team this talented.
Yeah, you got a lot of guys who can score the basketball and a lot of guys who have done it at a high level.
Yep. Coach Gary Irvin and Mohamed Farah, those guys, they put this team together. And Tony Parrish is over there too. He's put together some very good TBT teams over the years out of the Philadelphia area, South Jersey, and he's involved with this team as well. But talking to Praneeth Bomaretti, the GM, putting this team together, he had that BC team last year that was a 7 seed that upset a 2 seed out in Cincinnati. And he's saying, man, I'm going from a 7 seed to a 1 seed here in West Virginia. This is great.
Vaughn brings his team back to within 1 on that last bucket. Catch and shoot. Miles Brown, that was his forte in college, but rebound knocked around, and English comes out of the pack. Chance for Elite Nation to regain the lead. Washington, it's been his forte. It continues.
Man, Dez has been cooking this afternoon.
14 for the Harrisburg, Pennsylvania native, Desi Washington.
Smooth 14.
Inside of a minute to go here in our second quarter. Graves fading away, and it looked like it.
Yep, he shot it short. Didn't get himself squared up.
Bounce game for Washington all the way to the cup. And the last 4 for Desi Washington for Elite Nation. Now up by 3. Late whistle, and Mitchell will go to the line.
Wasn't sure Mitchell was going to draw that foul, but late whistle, as you said. The 6'1" guard will have a chance to shoot 2 free ones. A lot of flow at both ends to this game, though.
Now you would expect it might slow down a little bit. But, I mean, if this continues, you're looking at a target score in the 80s.
Yeah, perhaps.
First points of the afternoon for Sharif Mitchell. Split time at college between Creighton and Ohio U. Ended up with 6 years in total, one of them in which he only played in 6 games. And then obviously COVID did a number on some of those seasons too. 2 free throws for Mitchell make this a 1-point game. And about an almost 2-second differential between shot and game clock. Shot clock at 16 and game clock at almost 17. Excuse me, almost 18. Hall whirling and gets the bucket. 3-point lead for Elite Nation. One last shot. And Mitchell saying, hey, I got hit on the arm, but nothing there. And Elite Nation will go into the break up by what's 3, 43-40 for the top seed, but getting all they could handle from the Ohio Alumni Court Street Kings. Someone go into the regional final, and we'll advance here out of round 2. Tim Scarborough and I take an extended break. When we return, we'll have the start of the 3rd quarter. It's Elite Nation again by 3 here at the West Virginia Regional.
I'm a football guy. I play football.
And ready to go for the start of the third quarter here between top seed Elite Nation and what's the 4 Court Street Kings. Matt Martucci, Tim Scarborough. And what was as entertaining of a first half as we've had out here in the West Virginia Regional.
A lot of high-level shot making for sure.
And speaking of which, Idowu steps out and knocks down the 18-footer to push this lead to 5 for Elite Nation.
Number 11, Des Washington, had 16 first-half points for Elite Nation. After a couple of early turnovers, he really got it going. Here he is with the ball, pushing in transition once again. Oh.
And just knifed it right off his foot.
But that's how he starts the halves, right? He has to turn over a couple times. He'll go drop 16 for you.
Ben Vanderplas, who had the big first half for Court Street Kings, missed the 3 at the one end.
Jason Preston, number 0's got to get it going. He was 0 for 3 from the field, did not score.
A quick offensive rebound here. Hunter puts this off the glass. 7 now for Jalen Hunter. It's been a big theme here. Every time Elite Nation has pushed this lead to a couple possessions, Court Street Kings has always had a response.
They have. They're not going anywhere. They're going to be a tough out today to put them out. You're going to have to try. You're going to have to beat them. They're not going to give it to you.
Darius Hall going to be the inbounder. Out there with Idowu, Desi Washington, Galen Smith, and Rashad Vaughn, who had a nice first half. Hall And could hear that contact from over here. Contact to the floor, and quickly Mitchell accelerating against the bucket. We're back to within a 1-point game.
4-point swing, and Elite Nation did not take a free throw in the first half.
Washington steps through, left that one short,
Big
but
time.
there's Idowu right up with the offensive rebound.
And that's what Elite Nation can do that Court Street can't do. That athleticism on the rim.
Preston, and missed that one out of bounds. That's last touch by Idowu.
I mean, Malik Osborne, the Florida State star, I mean, he's athletic. We see what Idowu could do. Galen Smith, 6'10", number 30, played a little bit. He's on the floor now.
Mitchell gathers and missed the floater, but we get a late whistle.
Yep. Right call, though.
Mm-hmm.
And that was Galen Smith, former star at University of Alabama.
Osborne back in. Smith sits down. I don't know. Are all these guys stars? Ex-stars?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
If you're a professional, more than likely you are a star on your team. And not everybody was the leading scorer, but you can do other things. You know, you average 8 rebounds a game, that's a star player to me.
Hunter and Preston playing catch. Shot clock down to 10. Washington knocked him on the arm. Hunter off target. And rebound for Darius Hall.
But this Elite Nation team has 3 guys that scored 2,000 points in their
now
career.
those
So
guys
those
are
are stars.
Washington got bumped and bodied. Foul on Jalen Hunter. Reminder still to come. 2 seed heard that. And the 3 best Virginia. Marshall alumni against West Virginia alumni.
That's going to be a fun one. This place is going to be electric. Already starting to see some green shirts from Marshall fans. Certainly some blue and gold in here for the West Virginia fans. Another knockdown from 3.
That's Malik Osborne.
They were
Elite Nation pushes this lead to its largest at 6.
They were 5 for 9 in the first half from downtown.
Wilson, that's been his forte at times. Had it working on Friday from that spot.
Osborne changed that shot, though. He changed the trajectory of the angle.
Washington got caught up, whirled that pass out of bounds that got deflected by Court Street Kings.
Fortunate to not turn it over there. Desi Washington had nowhere to go.
Reminder that that next game can be seen on what is FS1. 5 o'clock tip. In the TBT version of the Capital Classic. Certainly excited to bring it to you as Hall able to score on the designed inbounds, and the lead continues to grow for Elite Nation.
Hall is a solid defender, on-ball defender, but, man, is he good around the basket as well. Good.
Preston, nice cut, just couldn't finish off the window.
Yeah, they've gotten nothing from him now. 0 for 4 from the field.
Chance to make this double digits for the top seed. Idowu says, yes, I will.
My goodness. This is the spurt ability that we talked about that Court Street Kings had to guard against, and now all of a sudden it's happening. An 11-point lead just like that.
55-44, and Idowu, the 3rd leading scorer now for this Elite Nation team with 9 points. 5 different guys have knocked down a triple for the team put together by Mohamed Faree.
But Jason Preston, number 0 in green, has got to get it going. He's a 3-year starter at Ohio University. 17 points a game as a junior, 16 as a senior. He's a guy, obviously an overseas pro.
Former NBA draft pick as well.
NBA draft pick with the Jazz, played with the Jazz. I mean, and he was solid the other day. But right now they have really turned off his water. He's got nothing they're going to need him to carry the scoring load going forward if they have any chance.
And what a contrast in terms of the way this third quarter has gone. 71% shooting for Elite Nation. 5 of their first 7. They've knocked down both of their threes. Court Street Kings only 2 of 9 and has not hit a perimeter shot here in the third.
The shooting 63% for the game, though. Their offense has been as efficient as you can expect from a team full of scorers like we talked about at the top of this show.
Yeah, they've shot it about as well as you could ask for. Meanwhile, Court Street Kings sub 36% from the field, only 26% from 3.
Yeah, 6 for 23 from downtown. And they're getting out-rebounded as well, 25-16. So the stat sheet is quite telling, and it's reflected in that 11-point lead for Elite Nation right now. Whoa.
All I can remember as Hunter draws the foul here. You and I were on the phone going over the bracket, as we typically do. You know, this is our 9th year doing these games. And I said, why is Elite Nation the 1 seed? And you said, well, look at who they have. You know, because we expected it would be either Heard That or Best Virginia because it is the West Virginia Regional.
Correct. But the most talented team in this region
Elite Nation.
Is clearly Elite Nation.
And, I mean, no disrespect to what we saw from Heard That or Best Virginia the other day.
No.
But didn't exactly have the best-looking round 1 performances.
And the reality is the winner of that game is going to be in the championship game, potentially, if this holds up, against an Elite Nation team. So we'll get a chance to find out who's the better team, who's more talented.
Well, and obviously, if it's Heard That, reinforcements will be coming. John Elmore, Tavion Kinsey supposed to arrive what will be sometime tomorrow on a flight.
Yeah, still out.
Their NBA Summer League title game still
out
to
in
come.
Vegas. Yep. Sacramento was up by 24 points yesterday, had their lead cut to 1. And I was thinking, man, we might see John Elmore and Tavion Kinsey after all. But they were able to hang on and get to the championship game that's going to be played today. So those guys will be back for Tuesday. Should Heard That win today versus Best Virginia. But that is not an easy task.
By the way, really good one not brewing, but really good one going on out in Lexington. La Familia, the Kentucky alumni, as Hall gets the bucket here for Elite Nation to push this to 12. But La Familia up 56-53 on War Ready, the Auburn alumni.
That's a good game.
Winner of that game gets Eberline Drive, a TBT staple in the regional final in Lexington.
That La Familia team was the one that eventually took out Takeover BC, which again was part of the GMs and some of the players on this team here.
And they hammered Heard That as well in that Lexington region last year.
They did. They hammered them. La Familia was a Jared Sullinger bucket away from winning $1 million last year in Philadelphia.
Preston still couldn't get that to stick.
Yeah, he had another high percentage one, just couldn't get it to go.
A lot of balance, by the way, for that La Familia team today. Washington, who was a one-man show in the first half, knocks down the 3, 15-point Elite Nation lead. And Preston gets hit on the arm. Still can't get the bucket to go. A pair of free throws coming.
So maybe these free throws will get him going if he can knock them down.
But to finish the thought on La Familia, Khalil Whitney 10 today, Duran Lamb 10, Kareem Cantor 10, Archie Goodwin 9.
Wow, how about that for balance? But will they survive today? Home court advantage, right? They're playing in Lexington. Oh, Preston missed the first free throw.
Yeah, right now as the score updates, 56-54, under 4 minutes left in the third quarter of that one.
Oh, still a third.
Earlier today in Lexington, we mentioned Eberline Drive, 2 seed over Tampa, Florida, pickup basketball behind a big afternoon from former Arizona guard Gabe York. And shell-shock the Maryland alumni, 81-78. They survive Red Rose Thunder to move on to the regional final of the James Madison Regional.
Shout out to our guy, Matt Mitchell, Eberline Drive GM. Pretty much been in TBT every year since the beginning.
But shell shock team as Preston gets this bucket to stick. Led by 23 from Diamond Stone.
Diamond Stone.
18 from Daryl Morcell. Two pretty good names in the past from Terrapin Lore.
Yep. To me, the early 2000s, late 90s, when Maryland was great and Duke was great, that was really kind of the last golden age of college basketball for me.
And we talked about it yesterday, the likes of Steve Blake and Lonnie Baxter, Juan Dixon.
Yeah. Chris Wilcox.
Chris Wilcox.
He turned himself into an NBA player.
He could jump out of the gym. Vaughn.
Man.
On the up fake and knocks down the 17-footer.
So many weapons.
Yeah, all Elite Nation here. But quick answer, Miles Brown snipes the three. Back to an 11-point game.
And as you know, the anatomy of any comeback is turning off the other team's water. You got to figure out how to get stops and then chip away at this lead. But there is a lot of high percentage shots, and you got some big-time shot makers in light blue, and they are making it look easy.
Idowu just knocked down another one, 11 for him. Ted Valentine says whistle on Rashad Vaughn. Now timeout on the floor here in the late third quarter. 13-point lead for the top seed Elite Nation, certainly playing like it against Court Street Kings. You're watching the West Virginia Regional here at TBT 2025. All Elite Nation here at Charleston, West Virginia. Matt Martucci, Tim Scarborough watching 64-51 in favor of the top seed. On top of Court Street Kings, the Ohio Alumni. And you just pointed out 4 double-figure scorers for Elite Nation, responsible for 52 of the 64 points.
All starters. Haven't had to get a lot from the bench. Malik Osborne has chipped in 5. A.J. English got his 2. But A.J. English, number 21, is a go-to guy type player. They don't even need him right now.
They don't need D'Angelo Harrison
Oh,
either.
Harrison, right.
Couple free throws from Brown bring this back to an 11-point lead. I mean, if you're Court Street Kings, you have to get this under single digits by the end of the quarter, right?
Yeah, and so then you think, well, how do you do that? Do you change your defense? Do you try to get to the free throw line? Do you rely on the three-point shot and hope they make 2s and you're making 3s? But you got to do something to change this outcome, because the way this game is trending, this Elite Nation team is going to coast into the regional championship.
Telegraph in the pass. Graves threw it away. Idowu up ahead.
Oh.
On. One more drop off, and Osborne with a 2-hand jam.
Thought he was going to throw it up for him, but nonetheless, same result, 2-hand flush.
Back to a 13-point lead. Harrison got the outlet, shoulders into Preston, whistle and a foul.
Some guys just know how to get themselves to the free throw line. And that's all that was right there. And D'Angelo Harrison forcing the issue, making the defenders work. All they could do was hack him. He'll go to the line for 2 free ones.
D'Angelo Harrison, who told me yesterday he's looking over his next contract. Likely going to sign in Italy again for another go-round.
Yeah, he's still got enough in the tank to go a considerable amount of years after this. Terrific player. He's a terrific TBT player, too, as we talked about. Remember that Gale Nation team, Iona great Steve Burt Jr. was on that team along with AJ. D'Angelo played with them that one time. And finally, Preston gets one to splash down from 3.
Bree makes this 67-56. Osborne going one-on-one on Vanderplas. Got the friendly bounce on the jump hook.
Too easy, though. You got a double team or he's got to kick him away from the basket a little further or something.
Vanderplas stepped in, left that one and done. And not looking like Court Street Kings going to get this under single digits going to the 4th.
So then your window in the 4th quarter, remember, is tight because at the 4-minute or under mark, we turn that clock off and play to a target score.
Harrison off the bounce. Good rotation on that jumper in Kansas.
At this rate, at halftime, I was thinking it was going to be like a 71, 72 target score. It's going to be a 90-something. Wow, Graves going to the rim with cruel intentions.
That's one way to get your team back into it, with one of those plays that are worth more than 2 points.
Yeah, the emotional lift that you get from banging on somebody's head. Couldn't get it to go. And he missed the free throw, so didn't get much out of that effort. Oh, missed them both.
Fairly quiet afternoon for Javon Graves. Court Street Kings having a tough time here in the 3rd quarter as we wind it down. English with the shot clock off. Behind the back, Osborne. And one more in Doji. Osborne, the offensive rebound, and that'll count.
Count the bucket.
What a 3rd quarter. Elite Nation had 43 on the board at the break.
My goodness, they hung a
30-point little 30-burger in the 3rd for the top seed Elite Nation. We'll go to the start of the 4th with them up by 17 on Court Street Kings. You're watching the West Virginia Regional here at the Basketball Tournament 2025.
They got a bunch of professionals. They said they're the #1 seed in the whole tournament. Oh, this week. Hey, Green.
Well, lots of work to do for Court Street Kings. After Elite Nation hit the speed burst button on the third quarter. Matt Martucci, Tim Scarborough. What's D'Angelo Harrison telling you over here?
He's just telling me basically how easy this has been so far. They're not even playing as hard as they know they can. And, you know, I like to have my old teammates here. I have my friend Chris Toomer, who played at Liberty a little bit after me, Eric Martin. They hang out with us doing these TBT. Those guys, I was telling them, listen, Elite Nation hasn't even broken a sweat yet. But they can't relax, though, because one of the many things that makes TBT unique is even when you have a lead, you still have work to do. You got to go get 8 more points at the end of this game, at least if you're in the lead. More if you're trailing, obviously.
Van Vanderplas got that last bucket. That was his first one of this now second half. He had 14 at the break. Kind of gives you an idea of how the third quarter went for Court Street Kings. English briefly doubled and fouled.
Just a well-assembled team. And, you know, we always talk about how tough it is to assemble a good team. And on paper, it's easy, actually. But getting everyone to commit and getting everyone, most importantly, to the gym. And, again, talking to the GM, Praneeth Bamareddy, yesterday, as well as the assistant, Muhammad Farah, you know, they were both saying, you know, we think we put together a really good team. Well, you did. You put together a great team. And now they just have to go out and do it. This team is capable of winning this whole thing if they play together and play right.
Nice up and under. Idoji scored the bucket +1 as Justice went to the floor hard.
You know what they remind me of is the 2023 champions, Hart Fire. Not quite as big as LaFonso Ellis's teams, but every bit as potent in terms of offensive productivity. That Hart Fire team was also a runner-up in 2021.
Yeah, a lot of good length on that team. I think of Raphael Putney and some of those other guys.
Oh, yeah, Putt, wow.
As Hunter gets a bucket, +1.
Putt is basically a 6'9" two-guard, right? I mean, wow. What a group. And they're still alive, correct, in TBT? The defending champs,
yeah,
Carmen's crew is still.
They'll play tomorrow in round 2 out in Kansas City.
Yep.
Carmen's crew playing Fort Wayne champs tomorrow in Indianapolis.
Boeheim's boys looked good yesterday versus Herkimer.
Yeah, and I did want to clarify. We had been talking about Jim Boeheim coaching. He's just coach emeritus, which basically means he had a role in assembling that roster, but isn't actually on the sidelines.
Yep. But there's plenty of other Boeheims lurking about. Jimmy.
Yeah, Buddy had a great day yesterday.
Yeah, Buddy had 27. Nice move.
Brown finding Justice in the corner. Three-pointer spins off. Haven't even made a dent in this deficit. And we've already played a couple minutes here in this fourth quarter, just about. Smith having trouble gathering on the baseline, out of bounds, turned over by Elite Nation. That's really the only thing they haven't done well. That is their 11th giveaway.
Yeah, but they had 9 at halftime. That third quarter, they were efficient.
Almost flawless. Hunter fouled here by Justin Robinson.
They also remind me a little of some of those Florida T&T teams that in these earlier rounds just kind of cruise through TBT and never really get challenged like they should. And sometimes that hurts you when you finally do get challenged. We saw that in the NCAA tournament with Duke. Hadn't been challenged much. Then
fell apart at the end.
Fell apart when they finally got challenged.
Hunter straightens up. Doji down with the rebound. Yeah, again, another reminder. This was a 3-point game at halftime.
35-21 rebound disparity. Elite Nation over Court Street Kings.
And we get a technical assist. D'Angelo Harrison didn't like the call from Ted Valentine. And Mike Lazo quickly said, enough of that.
D'Angelo's going to talk now.
Well, what did the GM tell us? Sometimes you can hear him from across the hotel.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's the last thing you want to do. Court Street Kings has had virtually no momentum here in the second half.
Yeah, giving them some free points, giving them possession. We're about 3 minutes, 2 minutes and change away from turning off the clock and going to the Elam ending scenario where we'll play to a target score. So this window here is desperation time for the Court Street Kings. If they could get this under 10 points, they'll have a chance.
A little less than 3 minutes to do it. Mitchell in on Robinson. The up fake.
Oh, they might count that.
And a whistle.
Mike Lazo and Ted are about to talk it over. And then Ted Valentine really didn't even ask Mike, but did you see it?
Just scored the bucket.
Scored it. I saw it.
A timeout for Elite Nation.
32nd.
And they haven't counted that basket yet. Well, now they have. At least they've said that it's good. They haven't put it up on the scoreboard just yet. Well, for us, what is game 4 of what is 6 across the West Virginia Regional? Still to come. 2 seed versus 3 seed, the Capital Classic TBT edition.
Rubber match.
Yep, folks here at the Capital at Charleston been excited about it since the regional was announced and the pairings. Hoping that both of their teams could win, although it almost didn't happen the other night. West Virginia, it took them basically almost an entire, felt like full quarter to get their bearings. Half the quarter they only had a bucket before Elam ending time and had to come back and come from behind.
Weren't they down? Yeah, they down
had
one
to come from behind.
in the Elam scenario, which you never want to trail at that moment of the game, especially having had a 17-point lead earlier. So that was almost a complete meltdown on their part, but somehow they were able to survive that and give the boys' dream a lot of credit because they could have easily folded. Remember at the end of the third quarter, there was a tip dunk at the buzzer, and this building was on fire. But then after that, the boys' dream came out and made a lot of big plays and got themselves in it, and you could hear a pin drop in this building.
Sharif Mitchell with a chance to make this an 11-point game. It does.
Oh, stole it away.
And quick steal for Court Street Kings.
Yeah, get sloppy.
Vanderplas. Good hop. Mitchell with another one. Contacted a blocking foul. And it'll go on Darius Hall. So fourth team foul. And one more, and you're shooting. So don't hand this one to Elite Nation just yet.
Yeah, stranger things have happened in TBT scenarios. So, again, you can't run the clock out like you can in normal basketball games. So really it's about quality possessions at both ends if you want to win the game down the stretch, whether you're leading or trailing.
By the way, in Lexington, La Familia up on War Ready, 71-63, the Kentucky Alumni.
Some breathing room.
And that NXT era elite team led by Ramon Galloway. Ramon Galloway is supposed to be on that roster, led by Ahmad Gilbert, I should say. Up on Raleigh 919 Legends. That's at the James Madison Regional. And Mitchell, with a pair of free throws, brings his team back to within 9.
Still work to do if you're Elite Nation. Don't relax. Turned it over again. Here we go.
Vanderplas with the steal. Gets it back from Hunter. Into the corner. Justice almost got the bounce. Instead, defensive rebound for A.J. English.
That would have made things very interesting. Would have cut it to 6.
Hall open, flat-footed 3. Can't get it to stick. Justice deflected the rebound. Preston wants to go. Mitchell off the shovel. Woo! In and out.
2 straight possessions where they got shots that they just couldn't cash in.
Elite Nation, little frantic, forcing some stuff. And what about that save from Vanderplas? Hunter and Preston. Justice, one more pass. Mitchell. It's 6-point game.
Woo!
Court Street Kings, more than awake. Mitchell
my goodness.
gets a steal. Vanderplas. Justice with the offensive rebound. Off the bounce in a 4-point game.
Oh, my goodness. Things can change awfully quickly when you relax. And remember, it goes back to that D'Angelo Harrison technical fouling. You said it, Matt. Will that change the momentum? Boy, has it changed the momentum, and it has changed it fast.
D'Angelo Harrison, by the way, has a warm-up top over the top of his jersey. That might be it for him. Perhaps relegated to the bench after opening his mouth.
Yeah. And with 5:10 to go, we're about a minute and change away from stopping the clock. And if it stays the way it is now, you got to give the Court Street Kings just as good of a chance to win as Elite Nation, wouldn't you say? Because they both, the target score would be 84. You don't have to beat them 12-6. You could do that. And the way they've been playing in the last few minutes, it's possible.
Yeah, this was 73-56 at one point. 16-3 Court Street Kings since.
So if you can go on a 16-3 run, you can certainly go on a 12-6 run.
Justice. Idowu broke it. Contact, offensive foul.
Wow. So wipe that basket, does not count.
And now a chance to make this a one-possession game. Who knows, maybe even tie this up or take the lead before Elam time.
This is quite a development.
Hunter, reverse layup.
Oh, my goodness.
And they're within a bucket. Back from 17 down to just 2. Preston got the swipe.
Look at
Justice
this.
Out ahead. We are tied.
Oh, what a development. TBT, man, this is just bananas. Elite Nation looked like they were going to cruise to victory, and now they are hanging on by a thread, tied, and we're still not in the Elam ending scenario.
Washington to the basket. English open, good look, can't cash.
The possession to take the lead. This is remarkable.
Hunter for the lead. Yes, sir.
What in the wide world of sports is going on here?
A 23-3 run. And whistle and a foul here on Court Street Kings.
That whistle takes us to Elam. We're under 4. He will get the free throws, but the target score is going to be set.
87 going up on the board. This was a 73-56 Elite Nation lead
Moments ago.
They have totally come undone after that Harrison technical.
These are hard free throws, but they're very important free throws for Hall. Your team's counting on you. There's no one else around. It's you and the backboard. And he gets that first one to swirl home.
We'll have one more. So that makes you feel a little better if you're Elite Nation.
Yeah, but how about the fact that you're not leading in Elam after being up by 17? Remarkable.
From 73-56 up 17 to down 79-78, heading to the Elam ending. Don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be right back at the West Virginia Regional. Want to make one correction as we head into the Elam ending. The lead was as many as 18.
18-point lead.
And at 8-10.
Squandered.
At the 8-10 mark.
Wow. They went on autopilot.
76-58 it was.
It's like one of those.
So since then, 21-2, the run.
What a run. Remarkable. And I'll be honest, I didn't think Court Street had that kind of run in them today. But, boy, did they turn on the defensive pressure, forcing turnovers, and then they converted big time at the other end.
Folks continuing to file into the Charleston Coliseum for the start of our next one.
We got drama in this one.
Yeah, they're here to see Heard That in West Virginia, but they're going to get a treat.
Hunter hit that shot to take the lead just moments ago.
Mitchell in and out. So +9 versus +8. English right to the basket and got bumped by Keyshawn Justice.
He says he was shooting. No shot, says Ted Valentine.
So fourth team foul. So one more, and even if it's non-shooting, you're in the bonus.
And bonus in TBT, Elam ending means one shot, and then the possession for non. Oh, they are in the bonus, they're saying. I don't know if that's the case.
And Daniel Harris coming out to explain, I think, to the officiating crew that that's a side-out inbounds.
Yeah, it's still a side-out scenario if he wasn't in the act of shooting. Of course, A.J. English was trying to sell the fact that he was shooting, but they clearly called that one on the floor, so this will be a side-out, not bonus time just yet.
Nice job by Daniel Harris, the head coach of Division II Davis and Elkins. Osborne facing up on Vanderplas with the shot clock inside 10. Washington off the bounce, little off balance, gathered himself, got his own offensive rebound, and got the bucket.
That was great recognition. Desi Washington was the only person that knew he missed that shot, and he went and got his own rebound and put it back in.
Vanderplas, the kick out, Hunter, the triple, no good. The last 3 points by way of Elite Nation. Hall out of control, Preston stole it
don't
back.
Lob it.
Justice threw it up into the front court and whistle and a foul. It's going to go on Jalen Hunter, so Desi Washington will get a free throw and then the possession for Elite Nation.
Yeah, I don't think they saw Desi Washington back there. That was a pass that you throw when you got nothing but your teammates at the other end through a rainbow, and Washington intercepted it.
I'll talk about taking momentum back. It was 79-76. Court Street Kings. Hall ended up getting the 2 free throws. But Washington spun the free throw off.
But they still retain possession down here in the backcourt. So there's some work to do.
+7 for Elite Nation versus +8 for Court Street Kings. A.J. English guarded by Jalen Hunter. By alma mater, that's Iona on Ohio.
Mac versus Mac. Different Macs.
Nice bounce. Osborne adjusting and punches it down.
Hang time.
Running together. You remember that show?
I do. Anthony Anderson was on that show, right? They had a girl on the team? Yeah, I remember that.
The court was like 40 feet.
If that.
Hunter for 3. Or make it Justice. Tied at 82. More importantly, both teams 5 points away. Big shot for Keyshawn Justice. English long on the 3. Justice deflected the rebound. Here comes Preston. Justice looking for another. Yes, sir! They're 2 away.
Woohoo! 2 big shots down the stretch for Justice.
All the way back from 18 down to within a bucket of an Elam ender.
Keyshawn Justice from Santa Clara, a guy that did not play at Ohio, making a big impression on the Ohio fans.
And boy, is that what he was known for in the WCC. Was as good as anyone at knocking down the triple. 305 of them.
Yeah, that's a ton.
In what was 5 years. A 38% career three-point shooter, Keyshawn Justice in college.
And it's been on display here in the Elam Indy, and even late in the fourth quarter. But boy, that was big. Those 2 possessions, perhaps, it's not over yet, but the Court Street Kings could pull this off. Four players in double figures now for the Court Street Kings, the Ohio University alum.
And again, this is where we remind you that this was an 18-point game at the 8:10 mark, 50 seconds into the fourth quarter. So basically, it was about 4 minutes worth of action, and they erased that deficit.
Remarkable.
To go up heading into the Elam ending.
And it's been Jalen Hunter and Keyshawn Justice down the stretch. Jason Preston has gotten to the act somewhat as well, number 0 in green.
Rashad Vaughn, Darius Hall, Desi Washington, Malik Osborne, A.J. English for Elite Nation.
Big possession here. You don't have to go for 3. You just need to score.
Washington manned up by Sharif Mitchell. Shot clock cut in half. Winner goes to the regional final. 5 away for Elite Nation. Tough shot.
Not for him.
Washington able to deliver.
Woo, he gets 2 feet in the paint. The delivery by Washington.
3 away versus 2 away. Court Street Kings can win on its next bucket. Hunter. Preston. Hunter dribbled it off his sneaker and out of bounds.
Woo! They're going to have to talk about this one. We don't have replay, but Mike Lazo to his credit, changed the call. Because I thought that went off the defender as well.
Now looking at it one more time, and it looks like it went off English.
A.J. English, correct.
Hunter with the shot clock inside 10. Vanderplas.
Oh, great hands.
Away.
Twice by English, knocked it away the second time.
Washington will go to the free throw line. They'll say fouled on the floor, so it's a free throw and a possession.
Yeah, that's almost worse.
It is worse.
For Court Street Kings. They almost wish he was shooting in that because he missed the shot. He would only get 2 free throws and no possession. Now he gets 1 free throw. If he makes it, the game's tied, and then they are only 2 points away.
And watching that Vanderplas catch at the other end, it's almost like his mind was ahead of body. He wanted to go up before he actually gathered the ball.
Oh,
but Washington, that's a second miss.
Second miss in this
scenario.
Elam ending scenario. But they are still just 1 shot away if they can knock down a 3 here.
Well, to have fallen apart and then to still have the opportunity to put it back together again. That's where Elite Nation is. English, right to the basket, and they're a point away.
But a point away could be 1 short of what you need if you don't get a stop here. A bucket wins.
Either way.
Kings.
A bucket wins either way.
Yep, but this possession, Court Street's got their first crack at it. So you need a stop if you're Elite Nation and then give yourself a chance.
Hunter and English, they've been going at it. Justice Drew in the double. Preston guarded by Hall. The pick from Vanderplas off the pick and roll. Offensive foul.
Oh, wow. Vanderplas may have hurt his ankle there. He's grabbing it. How about the charge taken by Desi Washington? Giving up several inches and a whole bunch of pounds, putting his body on the line at a big moment off of that pick and roll. Vanderplas caught that ball pretty much point blank from the bucket, but he plowed over Desi Washington, and now Elite Nation with a chance, Matt. You got some full court pressure now. Full court man-to-man.
Darius Hall will be the inbounder. Out there with English and Desi Washington, Rashad Vaughn, and then Malik Osborne. English takes the inbounds, guarded by Jalen Hunter. Winner moves on to Tuesday night's regional final. Timeout, Elite Nation.
Yeah, they're going to try to draw up a play to get a good shot. They got a lot of guys that can take them. A.J. English has been big in big moments throughout his entire life. Hit a big one at the last possession, getting right to the rim, doing what he does. Let's see if they draw something else up for him. Of course, you got Desi Washington, who's been terrific one-on-one. We haven't seen D'Angelo Hall.
Harrison,
I should say, down the stretch.
Well, still over there with that black warm-up top. The cutoff warm-up top has been walking outside the huddle. And I don't know if that's by choice or if he's been banished from the huddle.
Yeah.
It might be by choice. Now standing off by himself.
Interesting development there as we play on. How that dynamic will play out if this team does survive this.
Desi Washington will inbound. Sharif Mitchell, Ben Vanderplas, Jalen Hunter, Jason Preston, along with Keyshawn Justice for Court Street Kings.
This is what we thought, the isolation with English.
Rising up, wanted the Elam ender. Osborne the rebound, and they survive and avoid disaster. Malik Osborne with the Elam ender to rescue Elite Nation. and move on to the regional final.
Jalen Hunter was taking issue with some things going on at the end of that game. Jalen Hunter did a great job of forcing a tough shot by A.J. English, but the putback was just a little too much. The athleticism, the youth from Malik Osborne, big time in a big moment.
And taking a chest bump from D'Angelo Harrison that we don't even necessarily need to explain what it means, but we will. Thank you for saving my derriere.
And now, some dapping and some hugging, which is what we love to see. We don't want to see guys squaring off. But you can understand, there's $1 million at stake. And to survive it for Elite Nation, you got to be feeling good. But you got to be feeling pretty miserable if your Court Street Kings haven't made such a tremendous comeback, only to fall short on that possession.
Oh, they live to fight another day, Elite Nation.
Let this be a lesson to them, though. We talked about playing with your food, right? We knew they were the better team. They are. The #1 seed in this region, loaded with talent. But it doesn't take much to let your foot off of that gas, because these are pro players on that other side. They're going to come back and possibly steal your game, which almost happened tonight, but fortunately for them, they survived.
88-85 as Malik Osborne throws the placard up there. And that will do it for us. We're headed to FS1 for what will be another round 2 matchup. The Capital Classic TBT edition. 2-seed heard that, and the 3-seed West Virginia coming up in about 20 minutes. For my broadcast partner, Tim Scarborough, and our fantastic crew here at Charleston, Matt Martucci saying so long, but not for long. You've been watching the basketball tournament here at the West Virginia Regional.